One of my favorite seasons is late spring through early summer when everything's green, flowers are blooming, and early produce is ready from the garden. But I also enjoy the houseplants in my home throughout the year. Hi, I'm Jennifer Friend. I'm a WVU Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension agent in Harrison County, and today we'll be discussing basic plant needs and care for indoor plants. So you might ask, why should I care about plants? Well, plants can actually help you. So plants are great at improving your mood, and they also are a great way to have some stress release. One of my favorite things when I've had a stressful day is to go home and either water my plants or deadhead, remove dead leaves, and things like that. Plants are also a great way to get some exercise if you're caring for outdoor plants in your garden, or if you're caring for plants in a flower bed, as you definitely may need to do some weeding or just regular care through maintenance of watering, checking the soil for moisture, fertilizing, and things like that. One of the first considerations you need to make for your houseplants is going to be your lighting situation. You can decide to use grow lights as a supplemental source, or you might be able to have a great south-facing window for these plants. Generally speaking, if you have highlight plants such as succulents or cacti, they're going to need that south-facing window. However, there are some plants that can do okay in a low light situation, but it's best if you can rotate them around to meet their lighting requirements.
Some areas of your home are going to have adequate light, and for this Enjoy pothos, I'm actually able to hang it in my bathroom, and so it does really well here. It likes it because it's not too hot, it has adequate moisture, it's really easy to get it to where I need to get it to water, and it has plenty of light for it to be happy.
Another consideration for your houseplants is going to be your soil or your potting media. So when plants come from a greenhouse, generally speaking, they're going to be in a potting media that holds a little bit more water and can withstand some higher temperatures, so that while they're at the greenhouse, they can hold some more water and they don't have to get watered as frequently. However, when they go to your house, they're going to take a little bit longer to dry out, and then that can actually induce some root rot. So you don't have to transplant those plants right away, but have that in mind for those plants. When you are ready to transplant, only go up in a pot size 1 to 2 times the size of the pot that they're already in. And then I like to use orchid bark and then just a general indoor potting media and mix that together so that it has some good aeration, as well as it makes it easily drain.
Another thing I like to do with my houseplants is to use decorative pots, but then also use plastic pots as my inserts. So you can see I have an insert here on this alocasia, and I use that to actually water them with, and then I stick them back in the decorative pot because it does look better.
When it comes to water, it's going to depend on the plant. Obviously, something like a succulent isn't going to need as much water, as the leaves actually serve as a water storage organ for the plant. But if it's a plant like a peace lily, for example, they're a little bit pickier. They are going to show you when they need to be watered.
Another way to determine if plants need water is to use a skewer, bamboo stick, a knitting needle, something that you can easily stick down into the soil to determine if they need water. So you can just take that skewer, this is actually a bamboo stick, stick it through the soil, and then if it comes back up and has some soil on it, so you can see I actually dropped some, and there is some soil stuck onto that, and it's all the way through the pot, which means that this is very moist and I don't need to water it yet.
A good rule of thumb is about 50 to 75% dry is when you'll need to water most houseplants. Now, for something like a succulent or a cactus, you can let those dry out completely and then give them a really good soaking when you water them again, and then you can let them go for a long time before they get watered.
When it comes to watering, I like to do the bottom watering method, and so what I'll do is I'll actually just plug my sink and fill it up with water in my bathroom, because that's where my plants are closest to. I can't do a whole lot of plants in here, but I am able to easily bottom water them. And so you can see this peace lily is being a little bit dramatic. The leaves are drooping a little bit. And so I'm going to stick it in some water and bottom water it for this morning. So you can see I just have the bottom of it in the water, and so then it'll take up the water that it needs. And then I don't have to do a whole lot other than make sure I take it out of the water. And I'll probably leave it in there for this morning, and then when I come home for lunch, I will take it back out of the water and put it back in its pot.
So if you're interested in getting into houseplants, there's several houseplants that are great for beginners. These can be like pothos, snake plants, spider plants. Monstera is one of my favorites. Philodendron, peperomia, Traniscantia, or it's also called wandering dude, aloe vera. Or if you're wanting some really unique plants that you don't even need soil for, you can try out air plants, as they do not require soil and you can pretty much put them on a watering schedule, as watering them once a week by soaking is a great way to take care of those plants.
Some plants that are really great for people who tend to underwater are succulents or cacti. These are some of my favorite succulents, and these are actually living outside during the summer so that they get adequate light during the summer months. And they're really great because I tend to forget about some of the plants that I have outside, and so I don't have to water these that often, and I can actually just stick these out when it rains to be sure that they get adequate water.
So as the summer and the year goes on, I hope you're able to get outside in the garden or add plants to your home for years to come. Happy gardening.